When I woke up, I was in a novel, reincarnated as the cannon fodder fake heir who exists only to make the protagonist look good. To survive, I decided to become the most loyal suck-up to the real heir, determined to max out his favorability score. When he was hungry, I fed him. When he was tired, I slept by his side. I even sacrificed myself when he was drugged. Well, I sacrificed my hand. Finally, the system announced his favorability was maxed out, and I could finally relax. But that's when I noticed the way the real heir looked at me was getting weirder and weirder. Ken, this is Tommy. You were both born on the same day, but Tommy is an hour older, so you should call him bro. You two need to get along from now on. Okay? I stared blankly at the people in front of me. It wasn't until someone grabbed my hand and placed it in a cold one that I snapped back to reality. So, that favorability system thing was real. I actually got transmigrated into a book, and I'm the disposable fake heir meant to be a stepping stone for the protagonist, the real heir. So, in the future, I'm really going to keep making mistakes trying to compete with the real heir, only to be abandoned by the Hale family and die a miserable death on the street? A mechanical voice echoed in my head just in time. This system never lies. The opportunity is right in front of you. As long as you max out the protagonist's favorability score, you can change your fate and survive. What do I have to do? My mind was a complete mess. Simple. Just raise the protagonist's favorability score. Once you hit 100 points, you succeed. Listening to the system, I silently looked at the person standing in front of me. Compared to the original character, this imposter heir, Tommy Hale's features were a good 50 or 60% similar to the Hale family. He seemed to have inherited all of his parents' best traits. With that uniquely handsome, chiseled face, it's no wonder Mr. Hale had his suspicions the moment he saw him. Mr. and Mrs. Hale had always doted on the original character, their fake son. Even after confirming Tommy was their real son, they never planned on abandoning me. Especially after learning my biological parents had passed away and I had no other relatives, they insisted I stay, still treating me like their own. It's just a shame the original character was too greedy. But man, the look Tommy is giving me is so cold. With this attitude, can I really earn any favorability points? Feeling the coldness from his hand, my heart sank. What are you thinking about, Ken? Mrs. Hale's voice brought me back. I quickly nodded, don't worry, Mom. I'll definitely get along with my brother. Mrs. Hale's face beamed with relief. I glanced at Tommy again and saw he still had that same cold, expressionless look. Have I already pissed him off somehow? After observing Tommy for 2 days, I think I found the answer to that question. His coldness toward me probably wasn't because I'd offended him, but because he's just that cold to everyone. He could be as cold as ice even with Mr. and Mrs. Hale. This realization didn't make me feel any better, in fact. It made my heart even heavier. How am I supposed to get any favorability points from a total iceberg like him? I sighed, and just as I was about to head back to my room to strategize, a figure flashed before my eyes. The next moment, Tommy had me pinned against the wall. What do you think you're doing? I swallowed the scream that almost escaped and tried to stay calm as I asked. How did this guy appear out of nowhere? He moves like a ghost. You've been sneaking around and spying on me for the past 2 days. What's your goal? Tommy rested a hand on my shoulder, the back of his hand lightly brushing against my neck. I had a feeling he could snap my neck with one twist of his wrist. Wait, how did he know I was observing him for the past 2 days? My face paled slightly, but I quickly composed myself. I feigned confusion, looking at him. Brother, I think you might be mistaken. I wasn't spying on you. After saying that, I lowered my head, not daring to meet his sharp, cold eyes. I felt like he could see right through me. A mistake? A sarcastic smile played on Tommy's lips. He stared at me for another moment before turning to leave. Just then, the system's voice popped into my head. Host, seize this opportunity and start grinding for favorability points now. Seize the opportunity? Before I could even process it, I had already grabbed Tommy's sleeve. He turned to look at me, and I got so scared I immediately let go. How am I supposed to do this? Especially when Tommy looked at me, my legs felt a little weak. You can't blame me, the guy's aura is just too intimidating. Feeling my scalp tingle under his gaze, I finally managed to squeak out, "Your sleeve had some dust on it. I'll just brush it off for you." With that, I pretended to be very serious and patted his sleeve a few times. Then I looked up and smiled at him. See? Much cleaner now. I could just imagine how much of a suck-up I looked like right then. In the end, it was a performance for an empty audience. Tommy pulled his sleeve from my grasp and left without a second glance. He didn't say a word, but I could feel his disdain. So frustrating. After that incident, I avoided Tommy for several days. I figured it was better not to show my face until I had a solid plan. What if I accidentally pissed him off even more? But just as I made up my mind, it felt like the universe decided to mess with me. That evening, Mr. Hale called me over and told me that starting tomorrow, I would be going to the company with Tommy. My face instantly turned white. "What's wrong? You don't want to?" Mr. Hale asked quickly when he saw my expression. I was about to say no when the system chimed in again. "This is a great opportunity for the host to get close to the protagonist. Please seize this chance and agree." But I really don't want to go to the company. The original character's tragic end started when he joined Hale Corp. After joining the company, he became ambitious, and that's when he started clashing with Tommy. The host is running out of time. If you don't seize the opportunity to gain favorability, your bad luck could strike at any moment. Even though it was the system's usual mechanical voice, it sent a shiver down my spine, a chill spreading through my heart. Finally, looking at Mr. Hale's concerned face, I had no choice but to force myself to say, "No, I'm willing to go, Dad." "That's great. The company will be in you two brothers' hands in the future. You have to work hard." Mr. Hale patted my shoulder, relieved. I forced a smile and left the study with a light step. No one knew just how heavy my heart was. The next day, I made sure to wake up extra early. After freshening up, I came out to find Mr. and Mrs. Hale, along with Tommy, already sitting at the dining table. When they saw me, the couple warmly waved me over for breakfast. I walked over, originally planning to pick the seat farthest from Tommy, but I ended up pulling out the chair right next to him. Seeing this, Mr. and Mrs. Hale both beamed, probably pleased that I was taking the initiative to get closer to Tommy. Tommy, however, remained as cold as ever. The table was laden with a dazzling array of breakfast foods, but his plate was empty. I noticed Mr. and Mrs. Hale kept looking at him, seeming like they wanted to say something but couldn't. I'd pretty much seen this play out over the last few days. The newly reunited family of three wasn't getting along very well. Mr. and Mrs. Hale felt incredibly guilty towards their biological son and were constantly trying to make it up to him, doing everything they could to be good to him. But Tommy remained distant, seemingly indifferent. I don't know if he was resentful about the mix-up all these years, but he was just cold. Cold towards people, things, everything. The atmosphere at the table was a bit tense. After a moment's thought, I picked up the tongs and placed a fried egg on Tommy's plate. "Brother, have a fried egg." My words finally seemed to break the tension a little. Mr. and Mrs. Hale quickly followed suit, one pouring Tommy a glass of milk, the other adding a sausage to his plate. But Tommy showed no intention of eating. He just flipped a page of the newspaper in his hand and continued reading. The atmosphere instantly became awkward again. I realized once more, deep down, that trying to gain favorability with Tommy was going to be harder than climbing a mountain. This guy simply doesn't accept kindness from anyone. Perhaps the host isn't doing enough. The system was back. I couldn't help but roll my eyes and thought to myself, I want to do more, but he's not giving me an opening. Right now, I've already given him an egg, and he won't even eat it. What am I supposed to do? Feed it to him. That is one possible solution. Me? Do you hear yourself right now? Besides, Mr. and Mrs. Hale are right here. If I actually feed Tommy, they'll think I'm some kind of weirdo. Just as I finished my thought, Mr. and Mrs. Hale suddenly stood up. "We're full. You two take your time." They left in a hurry, looking like they were scared off by Tommy's coldness. If I wasn't absolutely sure that only I could hear the system's voice, I would have suspected Mr. and Mrs. Hale were in on it. "Please increase favorability as soon as possible, host." The system was nagging again. I snuck a peek at Tommy, then at his plate. Finally, I mustered up my courage, picked up his knife and fork, cut a piece of the fried egg, and held it to his lips. "Brother, eat up." Tommy finally tore his gaze away from the newspaper and graced me with a look. The hand holding the fork trembled involuntarily. I felt like I had done something wrong. Does Tommy think I'm overstepping? At that thought, I quickly tried to pull the fork back, but to my surprise, Tommy leaned in and ate the piece of egg. What does that mean? "Congratulations, host. You have gained +1 favorability with the protagonist." It worked. So Tommy likes this kind of thing? Even though it was just 1 point, it gave me a huge boost of encouragement. I pressed on, picking up a sandwich and holding it to his mouth. Tommy opened his mouth and ate it this time, too. Unfortunately, no new points. But that didn't discourage me. I kept trying to feed him. After I had fed him everything on his plate, I was about to reach for the main platter of eggs when Tommy finally spoke up to stop me. "That's enough." "Oh, you're full?" I put down the fork, a little disappointed. "How about a glass of milk?" I picked up the milk glass and held it right to his lips. A hint of helplessness flashed in Tommy's cold eyes, but he still drank it. "Congratulations, host. Protagonist's favorability +1. Current total 2. I almost cheered out loud. Even though I only got 2 points for feeding him one breakfast, they didn't come hard. It was a bit mortifying at first, but with the points rolling in, the embarrassment was negligible. After that breakfast, I felt like I had seen another side to Tommy beneath his cold exterior, and I wasn't as afraid of him anymore. On the 3rd day after Tommy returned to the Hale family, Mr. Hale handed over the reins of Hale Corp to him, appointing him as the company's CEO. The position arranged for me was vice president. However, to find more opportunities to curry favor with Tommy, I turned down the VP position and said I wanted to be Tommy's assistant. Mr. Hale was against it at first, but after I told him I wanted to build a brotherly bond with Tommy, he thought for a moment and agreed. My first day as Tommy's assistant. What does an assistant do? Standing next to Tommy, my mind was blank. Suddenly, my eyes fell on the empty cup by his side, and inspiration struck. I picked up his cup and said, "I'll go get you some water." With that, I took the cup and headed to the break room. Just as I was about to enter, I nearly collided with someone coming out. Luckily, I reacted in time and took a few steps back. "Ken?" Hearing a vaguely familiar voice, I looked up. Before me was a very stylishly dressed woman. She seemed happy to see me, but her eyes were darting around, sizing me up as if she was scheming something. Her gaze made me a little uncomfortable. I gave her a slight nod and tried to walk past, but she stepped forward and linked her arm with mine. "We haven't seen each other in ages, and you're being so cold to me? Huh? Who are you?" I looked at her, confused. She instantly got upset, pinching my arm and whining. "So I haven't contacted you for a couple of weeks, and you've already forgotten me? Ken, darling, you can't be this heartless." "Huh?" I stared at her face, trying to place her, and suddenly someone came to mind. In the book, although the original character was a bit jealous, he wasn't really that intent on fighting with Tommy. After all, he knew very well that Tommy was the rightful heir to the Hale family. But he had a girl he was involved with. That woman was always stirring up trouble, constantly brainwashing him that without Tommy, everything the Hales owned would be his, pushing him to fight and snatch it all away. The original character was provoked, and he began to compete with Tommy. And after he failed, this woman immediately backstabbed him, revealing all the bad things he had done and even providing various pieces of evidence. That woman's name was Lily, and she also worked at Hale Corp. Could it be her? "Lily?" I asked tentatively. "Are you trying to be funny? You're actually calling me by my full name? You're awful." She then playfully pounded my shoulder with her little fists. I was still reeling from the shock that this was really Lily, and her pounding actually hurt. I quickly pulled my arm away and stepped back to create some distance. Seeing my reaction, Lily pouted, clearly displeased. "Are you really going to be this distant with me? We were never that close to begin with, were we?" I retorted coolly. Lily was stunned, obviously not expecting me to say that. Her eyes quickly reddened as she gave me an accusing look. I'd better just get the water. I'm really not good at handling these kinds of situations. I figured Lily would be gone by the time I finished getting the water. From what I remember of the original character's memories, she had a very strong sense of pride. I never expected to be wrong. When I came out with the water, she was still standing at the break room door. I awkwardly scratched my nose, planning to pretend I didn't see her and walk away, but Lily actually started following me. "What do you want?" Lily wiped her tears, not saying a word, just looking at me mournfully. I really can't stand this. Since we couldn't communicate, my only option was to run. I quickened my pace towards the CEO's office, thinking she couldn't possibly follow me in there. Turns out she did exactly that. And just as I was about to open the door to the CEO's office, she pushed it open first and rushed inside. Seriously, what is this woman's problem? I walked into the office with the water and heard Lily crying to Tommy. "Mr. Hale, can you please help me? I really don't know why Ken has suddenly become so cold to me. I'm so heartbroken." She spoke as she edged closer to Tommy. Just as she was about to circle around the desk to get nearer, Tommy suddenly spoke. "Get out." Lily's voice was hurt and shocked. "Mr. Hale, get out on your own, or I'll have security throw you out." Tommy didn't even look at her as he spoke coldly again. Lily's quiet sobs abruptly stopped. A moment later, she said, "I'm sorry to have disturbed you, Mr. Hale. I'll leave now." I watched Lily rush past me, feeling nothing but secondhand embarrassment. Has Lily been watching too many soap operas? Tommy suddenly looked at me. "Come here." I walked over with my head down, holding the cup of water. I knew Tommy was probably upset about what just happened, so I quickly explained. "Don't get the wrong idea. There's nothing going on between her and me. I have no idea why she was being so dramatic." After a moment's thought, I ventured a guess. "I think all that drama was just an act to get close to you. After all, you're the CEO of Hale Corp now, the whole company is yours. If she could get on your good side, she'd be set for life." "Set for life?" "Yeah, I bet tons of people want to get on your good side." Even though I felt a little sour saying it, it was the truth. Tommy looked me up and down for a moment, then suddenly asked, "You too? Huh? What does he mean? Latch on to him?" "Of course I want to. Isn't that what I'm doing now, trying to get favorability points so I can ride his coattails? I wouldn't miss such a golden opportunity to show my sincerity." I nodded emphatically at Tommy. "Of course I do. If I ever got the chance, I would definitely cherish it." A complex look flickered in Tommy's cold eyes. He just stared at me for a long time without saying anything. Is he trying to decide whether to let me latch onto him? I better put on a good show. I held the cup of water up to him, grinning like a total suck-up. "Here, let me give you a drink." Tommy opened his mouth and drank. "Congratulations, host. You have gained plus 20 favorability with the protagonist. Current total, 22. Holy crap, 20 points in one go. It looks like Tommy really likes it when I fawn over him." And so, feeling like I'd finally found the right method, I got busy. I stuck to Tommy like glue. When he was hungry, I fed him. When he was thirsty, I gave him water. When I saw him working for a long time without a break, I'd go over and give him a massage. Basically, I revolved around him, my eyes almost never leaving him. In just one day, I managed to grind his favorability score all the way up to 50 points. Turns out, getting favorability points is this easy. That night when we got home, I kept chattering away at Tommy in front of Mr. and Mrs. Hale. Probably because of the 50-point score, he actually responded to me this time instead of ignoring me. His replies were still short, but he was responding. His change undoubtedly made Mr. and Mrs. Hale happy, and they gave me all the credit. Looks like having you two brothers bond was the right call. Yeah, if anyone can change Tommy, it's Ken. The excited couple rambled on for a while before reaching a conclusion. If we want Tommy to truly accept us, we probably need to get him and Ken even closer. It's a shame they only have the daytime to bond. If they could be together at night too, it would be even better. They might have been speaking casually, but it gave me an idea. At 11:30 that night, after my shower, I hugged my pillow and knocked on Tommy's door. "What is it?" His tone was cold and distant, yet it was as if he knew it was me knocking. He said, "Come in." With his permission, I opened the door and saw him still at his desk, reading documents. "So late, and you're not sleeping yet? You were busy at the office all day. If you keep this up, are you even going to care about your health?" Tommy put down the papers and his gaze fell on the pillow in my hands. I felt a bit awkward but stated my purpose anyway. "I was worried you wouldn't sleep well, so I came to keep you company." The excuse was a bit flimsy, but my only goal was to show him how much I cared. "See? I'm being so good to you, so hurry up and give me some favorability points." Unfortunately, the points didn't increase, and the way Tommy looked at me grew stranger. Just when I thought he might be unhappy about me wanting to sleep with him, he suddenly stood up, walked over to me and said simply, "Let's sleep." Then he got into bed first. I breathed a silent sigh of relief and immediately climbed onto the bed too. "I bet you often stay up late and don't sleep well, right? Tonight, I'll help you fall asleep. I guarantee you'll be out in no time." Without waiting for his reply, I turned on my side and gently patted his chest. The moment my hand touched his chest, I was taken aback by its firmness. Whoa, this guy must be in great shape. Look at these pecs. I couldn't help but feel them up a bit. It felt so good that I couldn't resist touching them a few more times. Only after I was done did I realize Tommy was watching me. I immediately felt a bit embarrassed. Even though we're both guys, my behavior just now felt a lot like taking advantage of someone. Sorry about that, I had enough." Tommy cut off my apology. "Huh? There's abs too. Is he inviting me? Why does this feel weird?" I tentatively reached my hand toward his stomach and boldly felt it. "Damn, an 8-pack. You actually have an 8-pack. Can I see your 8-pack?" As a man without a single I was incredibly envious of anyone with an 8-pack. Tommy was surprisingly generous and readily agreed. I immediately sat up, reached for the bedside lamp and turned it on. Then I eagerly lifted his shirt. Bronze skin, perfectly defined abs. The sight made me gulp a few times. They're amazing. Too bad I don't have any. I've been a skinny guy both before and after transmigrating into this book. Nothing to be sorry about. It's enough that I have them. Does that mean I can touch his abs next time, too? I never thought this guy was actually warm on the inside despite his cold exterior. No wonder it's so easy to get favorability points from him. Lost in my happy thoughts and caresses, I completely missed the restrained emotion hidden beneath Tommy's icy gaze. Suddenly, Tommy wrapped an arm around me and pulled me down onto the bed. Time to sleep. His breathing seemed a little heavier. Is he angry? At that thought, I immediately behaved myself and quickly removed my hand from his stomach. It was my first time sharing a bed with someone, and even though he was another guy, I felt a bit awkward. Worried I'd be up all night, I closed my eyes and started counting sheep. I didn't even make it to 10 before I was fast asleep. I had a dream that night. In the dream, I was being stalked by a hungry wolf. Terrified, I ran for my life, but the wolf kept chasing, wanting to eat me. "No, don't eat me," I screamed, and my eyes shot open, only to be scared into another shout by the close-up view of Tommy's face. "Having a nightmare?" Tommy asked. "Yeah." Thank God it was just a dream. I looked around and let out a breath of relief. Perhaps because of the nightmare, I felt listless all day. Following Tommy around the office, I wasn't my usual suck-up self. Luckily, Tommy really was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He didn't seem to mind my slacking off and even told me to go rest in his private lounge. "Well, you remember to drink water and eat properly." I looked at him, still a little worried. To be honest, I was afraid that if I wasn't around, his favorability score for me would drop. The moment I had that thought, the system's notification chimed in my head. "Congratulations, host. You have gained plus 10 favorability with the protagonist. Current total, 60. Huh? That works too. With those 10 points secured, I went to sleep without a worry. I don't know how long I slept, but when I woke up, the sky outside was already dark. I glanced at the time. It was almost 9 p.m. I quickly got up. As I reached the door of the lounge, I suddenly heard a woman's voice. My heart tightened. Is that Tommy's girlfriend? Would it be a bad idea for me to go out now? Would I be interrupting them? As I was debating, the woman's voice came again. I really couldn't find it. Didn't you say it was in his office? I searched everywhere and couldn't find a thing. What do you mean I'm useless? How about you're the useless one? Tommy's only been here a few days, he's a total newbie, and you can't even handle a newbie. Hearing this, I finally realized something was wrong. So it wasn't Tommy's girlfriend, but a thief. And this thief was an employee at Corp, and more importantly, she had an accomplice. She probably snuck into the CEO's office after everyone else had gone home. I was about to go out and catch her in the act, but her next words stopped me in my tracks. What did you say? You really arranged to have Tommy drugged? No, let me go. If I can become the CEO's wife at Corp, then I can truly work with you from the inside. Before I could emerge and catch her, the woman clicked away in her high heels and left quickly. What do I do now? After a moment of panic, I quickly calmed down. I immediately took out my phone and called Tommy. As long as Tommy knew, their scheme would surely fail. But as if the universe was playing a cruel joke, Tommy didn't pick up. I stubbornly kept calling. After the 12th call, a bad feeling crept into my heart. Could it be that Tommy has already fallen into their trap? Could he have already been defiled? But the woman just left, so it shouldn't have happened that fast. I have to find him, and fast. I found Mr. Hale's number and dialed. Finally, from Mr. Hale, I learned that Tommy was attending a banquet tonight at the Riverside Hotel. The Riverside Hotel? Huh? Just you wait. I rushed over and finally made it to the Riverside Hotel. The banquet was on the first floor. But when I tried to go in, I was stopped. The concierge at the door asked me for an invitation. The invitation is with Tommy Hale. I'm his brother. We were supposed to come together, but I had to step out for a bit. If you don't believe me, you can go in and ask him. The concierge seemed skeptical but still wouldn't let me in. He took out his walkie-talkie to contact someone. While he was distracted, I bolted past him and into the banquet hall. The banquet wasn't a wild, flashy party, but there were a lot of people, mostly chatting in small groups. I looked for Tommy. I didn't find Tommy, but I did see a familiar-looking woman. I think she's an employee at Corp, from the CEO's office. I remembered the original character had greeted this woman before, connecting that with the voice I heard in the lounge earlier. Could it be her? Right then, she was looking left and right. Seeing that no one was watching her, she immediately headed towards the lounge area. I had a feeling something was up and immediately followed her. Sure enough, as I reached the corridor, I heard the woman standing at the door of a private room, talking. Mr. Hale, I know you must be feeling terrible right now. Let me come in and help you. Don't worry, Mr. Hale. I won't let anyone know about this. Mr. Hale, can you please open the door? The woman pleaded for a long time. When the person inside still didn't open the door, her exquisitely made-up face began to twist. She took out her phone to make a call. He won't open the door. Get over here and help me. Quick. Leave now. If we leave now, all our efforts will be wasted. You have another way? Hearing this, I quickly hid in the nearby stairwell. A moment later, I heard the sound of high heels passing by. The woman had left. I ran straight to the lounge where Tommy was. Tommy, are you okay? No response from inside. I started to panic, pounding on the door and yelling, Brother, are you okay? Can you open the door and let me in? I was worried something had happened to Tommy inside and was thinking about finding someone to help open the door when it suddenly opened. The first thing I saw was Tommy's dark, grim face. His cold eyes were like daggers, as if one look could kill. I instinctively shuddered but quickly stepped forward. Are you all right? Seeing him unsteady on his feet, I quickly supported him. As soon as I touched him, I was shocked by the burning heat of his body. Oh my God! You have a fever. I was about to take Tommy to the hospital when I heard footsteps coming from the end of the corridor. The footsteps were chaotic, suggesting more than one person. Could it be that woman bringing people back? This room isn't safe anymore. I glanced at the lounge next door and suddenly had an idea. I helped Tommy out of the room, closed the door, and then led him into the adjacent lounge. This way, even if those people break down the door, they won't find Tommy. Don't you think I'm clever? I turned to Tommy, about to brag, but was suddenly tackled to the ground. Tommy, burning up, pressed me down, his short, ragged breaths filling my ears. I know you're not feeling well. Just hang in there. I'm calling Dad right now to get people to come rescue us. I didn't know if the people outside were the ones trying to harm Tommy. If they were, I definitely couldn't get Tommy out safely on my own. The only person I could ask for help right now was Mr. Hale. I reached into my pocket to get my phone but accidentally brushed against Tommy's thigh. My eyes widened as I stared at Tommy. Just before his lips could meet mine, I quickly turned my head. I felt something soft touch my ear, and a feather-like tickle shot through my heart, a faint electric current running through my body. What is this strange feeling? Tommy, can you get up first, please? I said, struggling to push him away when I felt an unusual hardness. We're both guys. How could I not know what that part getting hard means? Thinking about Tommy's abnormally high temperature and strange behavior, so the drug they gave Tommy wasn't the poison I thought it was. It was that kind of drug? Realizing this, I felt my whole world turn upside down. Hey Tommy, no brother, please snap out of it. Just wait for me to call Dad. He'll send people to take us to the hospital. Okay? I tried to reason with Tommy, but it was clear the drug had robbed him of all his sanity. His lips wandered down my neck, and his hands had started to roam restlessly over my body. Tommy, look at who I am. You'll regret it if you actually do something, I yelled, trying to snap him out of it. To my surprise, Tommy paused, looked at me for 2 seconds, then held my face and kissed me. My head was spinning, and my mind was completely blank. What is happening? System, help me. Quick, system. With no other options, I started begging the system for help. But the damn system decided to play dead. No matter how much I pleaded, it remained silent. An hour later, looking at my incredibly sore hand, I wanted to disappear on the spot. How could I have? Let's go. To the hospital. Tommy, now fully dressed, walked over and pulled me to my feet. His body was still abnormally hot. Looking at his face, he had the same cold and indifferent expression, as if what just happened didn't faze him at all. As if it were the most normal thing in the world. Was it really normal? Just as I was spiraling into confusion, the system's voice suddenly rang in my head. Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 30 favorability with the protagonist. Current total, 90. Hearing that, my desire to settle scores with the system vanished, replaced by pure excitement. 30. I got 30 points, and my total is at 90, which means I only need 10 more points to max out his favorability and change my fate. Just moments ago, I was feeling down about the handiwork I had to do for Tommy. Now I was over the moon. A hand job, whatever. It's just guys helping each other out. What's the big deal? I happily followed beside Tommy, my smile as bright as it could be. Tommy seemed to be infected by my mood, and a faint smile even appeared on his icy face. This happy? Of course. The mission's almost complete. How could I not be happy? You like it that much? Huh? The favorability points? Of course, I love it. Tommy gave me a deep look and nodded. Okay, I'll remember that. Remember what? What does that mean? Wait for me here. I'll be right back. At the hospital, Tommy told me to wait in the seating area while he went into the emergency room. Before he left, he touched my cheek. I touched the spot he'd just caressed, watching his back as he walked away, feeling a strange, indescribable sensation. My heart felt like it was being tickled by a feather, itchy and weird. What are you thinking about? I don't know how long I'd been lost in thought, but I didn't even notice Tommy had come back and was standing right in front of me. Seeing him, I immediately stood up and touched his forehead. I was relieved to find his temperature was back to normal. The drug must have worn off completely. You're not feeling unwell anymore, are you? I'm fine now. So, should we go home? Yeah, let's go home. As Tommy spoke, he took my hand. Huh? I looked at our joined hands, and that strange feeling came back again. But when I looked at Tommy, his expression was perfectly calm, not strange at all. So, am I the weird one for thinking this is weird? To stop focusing on our hands, I quickly started talking to distract myself. I asked if he knew who was behind the attack tonight. Tommy said he did. His calmness made me uneasy. I quickly told him what I had overheard in his lounge. To my surprise, he said it was all within his expectations. So, you knew someone was coming to steal things from your office? The CEO's office has a separate security system. Without my permission, anyone who tries to sneak in will trigger an alarm. Hearing him say that, I felt a strange pang of disappointment. Since you had everything under control, I guess I shouldn't have gone looking for you tonight. Then that embarrassing stuff wouldn't have happened. Hearing my words, Tommy stopped walking. He looked at me seriously and said, "No, I'm glad you came to find me tonight. I had calculated everything, but I never expected them to drug me. If it weren't for you, tonight would have had a very different ending." Okay, his words finally made me feel a little better. But I still added, "Oh, if I'm so important, why did you leave me alone in the lounge and go without even waking me up?" He had no idea how lonely I felt when I woke up and found myself all alone. "I left you a note. You didn't see it? A note?" I suddenly remembered I hadn't even turned on the lights after waking up. Tommy probably figured I hadn't seen the note and continued, "I was gonna wake you, but you were sleeping so soundly. I figured I'd just go back and get you after the banquet." Seeing him, a man of few words, offer such a long explanation, the last bit of my displeasure completely vanished. "Fine, I'll believe you this time." It was almost 1 a.m. by the time we got home. Mr. and Mrs. Hale were already asleep. "You should get some sleep too." I was about to head to my room, but Tommy pulled me towards his. Thinking I still had 10 favorability points left to earn, I followed him. As soon as I lay down, Tommy wrapped his arm around me, pulling me into his embrace. I felt a little weird and tried to push him away, but he whispered in my ear, "You must be tired. Go to sleep." I figured he was probably exhausted after everything that had happened tonight, so I didn't push him away again. For the next few nights, Tommy pulled me into his bed to sleep with him. Of course, there were benefits to sleeping together. Just like that, I finally earned the last 10 favorability points. With the score maxed out, I could finally just chill, right? On the first day of my new, relaxed life, I carried my pillow from Tommy's room back to my own. The way Tommy had been looking at me these past few nights was getting weirder and weirder. I had a feeling if this continued, something bad might happen. So it was time to retreat to my own room. I never expected that I'd just gotten back to my room when Tommy followed me in, fresh from a shower with steam still rising from his skin. He looked at me, confused, and asked, "You prefer your room?" Without thinking, I replied, "Of course." "All right then." I thought, what's going on now? "What are you doing, Tommy?" I finally found a chance to speak, my voice filled with indignation. Tommy pecked my lips a couple more times before saying in a husky voice, "You've been dropping hints all day, every day. Isn't this what you wanted?" Who the hell was dropping hints at you? You damn system. Get out here. What is going on? Congratulations, host. You have successfully made the protagonist fall in love with you. I wish you both a lifetime of happiness. What the hell? Fall in love with me? The favorability score has been maxed out, and the protagonist is hopelessly in love with you. You never said the favorability points meant that. Tommy's epilogue. The first time I saw Ken, he was like a little animal, always looking at me with those wide, moist eyes. So pitiful and a little amusing. I thought he would hate me for taking everything from him, but I never expected him to fall for me instead. He spied on me every day. He worried I wouldn't eat breakfast and fed me himself. He would probably be very sad if I didn't eat. And he calls me brother. He even turned down a VP position just to be my assistant, to stay by my side. Does he like me that much? He even used that strange woman to confess to me, saying he wanted to latch on to me and would cherish the opportunity. Fine, I'll give him the chance. The little guy is dropping hints again, touching my pecs, saying those things with that expression on his face. Does he want it that badly? Actually, it's not out of the question. The little guy's hands feel nice. The little guy seems to be avoiding me lately. Turns out he prefers his own room. He should be happy now.